Friends, good morning and welcome to Empires and Puzzles video. It's that eventful day, which is Soul Exchange. And after a while, this is a Soul Exchange where I am personally not decided yet, but we will find out as I peep in along with you into this. It's going to be around for 3 days. This is Soul Exchange number 15. And it's the same order as has been shared by our investigating fellows. We have some real cool fellows on our game forum who are the oracles, the assistant oracles, and they are able to mine this particular information from the game app. Having said that, let's go and look at each of the heroes. We have the same 10, 15, and 20 tiers. So it's the same hero, that's Uwe, Dark Element, in the tier of 10 starting. Well, he's the slow speed, so I'm not going to go threadbare into each of the heroes. I'm going to look at their utility and try and keep this video short. So Uwe is slow speed. He is clearly part of the gargoyle family. He has the benefit of the soft skin, which reduces damage. And at the same time, I'm going to keep the max preview on so that you can see, because these heroes will have to be maxed fully. So you need to know the stats. So this is one of the rare hero discussions where I'm going to keep the max preview on. So his unique benefit also is the wizard class, which ensures that there is additional damage per active buff. So that helps, and this also helps. Having said that, going into the special skill, slow speed, of course, limits the utility. But that 850% damage is significant. And if an enemy has less than 50% health, then another one is going to get whacked. So this can become basically whack all also. If you have impact all hero along with him, you can basically end the particular play for that particular raid or any part that you are engaging with. Then, if hit enemies use their special skills in the next 3 turns, they receive 1080 poison damage over 5 turns. This cannot be cleansed. So yeah, very good deal in this particular row. Uwe, stats are not extremely low. 1600 is 200 away from the current stats that are popping out. And as you move forward, you'll realize how these stats are pretty useful, even though health is on the lower side. Because being slow speed, I would have expected health to be somewhere around 2700, 26, 27. So this is clearly on the lower side when I'm doing a comparison with 1600. But then he's a sniping badass, so well, some fault line will be prepared in it. Moving to the next one in this tier, that is Aviana or Aviana. That's a holy fighter, one of the old heroes of the month. She has popped up. So Uwe has popped up on a lot of defenses when I dropped my cups so that I could do those Soul Exchange videos. And so did Aviana. She's on a lot. So one of the information is for a lot of mid-level players in the cup range around 26, 27, 2800, there's a lot of these heroes that exist. So I want to point that out. Aviana is an impact 3 hero. She has this passives of bleed damage resistance, then gains plus 5% mana when receiving a buff or a positive stack. So those are useful. When you look at the stats, you clearly know that's a question area. This is plus 40% defense against special skills for 6 turns. That's her Aether power. Talent, of course, is plus 25% attack in case of a fatal attack and revival. Impact 3. Target nearby are immune to status effect new status effect buffs, then there is this 50%, plus 50% critical chance that comes in extremely handy in a lot of scenarios of Impact 3 play. So, yes, while it is low damage of 330% compared to the many other ones, but then this is a hero of the month. Their stats are at least 6 to 7 or 8 months less compared to the current ones. So they match up with 6, 7 months older heroes in the normal part of the game. Dodge of 5% is nothing to jump about, but the plus 50% critical chance to self and nearby is useful. So she will have Impact 3 uses against the Titans that comes into effect to get that critical chance to self and nearby. But I will leave it at that. Carmenta. That's a fire element hero. You can see the stats, extremely low. Master of Ailments. Spreads all of the target's cleanse status ailments to nearby allies. So, okay, that's an ailment slow motion damage. Duration of the status ailments is reset for target nearby, then deals 495% damage to target and minor damage to nearby. I mean, the era of 495 is fine if it was being done at this kind of stats. Though in certain conditions, she can become a little extra useful, but then certain conditions don't happen very regularly. So I'm going to leave it at that. Part of the mascot family, there is this passive, irrelevant ailment immunity is a good Aether power to have. That's Carmenta for you. Moving forward, Tinsel. Those are stats of 3 or 4 years old. While that's a good mix of specials, really not worth it. Impact 3, 340% damage. Target nearby, then there is a slim elf minion, irrelevant. Then defense down, which caps to minus 54% to target and nearby enemies. And then there is this accuracy, which caps to target and nearby for 4 turns at minus 50% ailment. So yeah, those are good stuff, but nope, even this doesn't help much when you look at those extremely low stats. So whoever decides to go for Tinsel, I would urge you to, of course, fully complete her. And you may have some specific use, but no. Moving to the last fellow in this particular row, that's Hallstone. Now, he is a support hero who heals. That's the way I see it. When you look at those stats, very, very low, which means he's a very old hero. One of the reasons for the stats being a little respectable is because he's a construct hero. This is a good passive to have. And this is useful. There's a lot of healing to self and others he's doing. But what is cool about him is at full HP, allies get plus 50% attack because they don't need healing, and plus 30% defense. So there is a attack buff and a survivability defense buff. They don't need healing, so there is no healing given to those. So there's a very customized 3-tier thing. Above or equal to 50% HP, there is defense given to survive, and there is a mana that is given to charge up. And below 50%, there is a heal over turn, and there's defense, and there's counterattack. So again, strong survivability with heal built up. He showed up as in the role of a tank and the left flank when he was new, and at that time he was easy to be whacked. So he becomes more of a liability because he's not a straightforward healer that creates direct survivability. He's providing survivability in an indirect mode, which doesn't help with today's heroes because he'll be whacked very easily. 2650 HP at max preview is a straight snipe by many heroes. So I'm going to leave it at that. That's your tier of 10 done. We move to the next one, which is tier 15, starting off with Costume Bastet. So I don't see very high attack numbers despite the costume bonus, which is the reason that this hero is going to be looked at and is being offered. But when you look at those defense and health stats, that's huge. So there you are. You have these passives which are useful, speeding him up via that mana plus 5%, because there's a lot of buffs that can be given, so you can speed up. Then there is this survivability of plus 40% defense against special skills for 6 turns via the Aether power. So that helps Bastet survive. Stats in terms of attack, which means he's been designed, or at least he's being showcased over here and designed as a support hero, because support heroes have a strong survivability built in, and that's what comes out. The 210% damage to all is, of course, maintaining the old version, which was 220. So, and damage and over 3 turns of dodge, 45% chance to dodge special skills for 3 turns, and each dodge gives 10% defense stack, is coming from the previous one where it was 5%. So here it is increased. So again, you look at survivability built in so that he can do his thing. His damage is going to be not very high. It's going to be a little pokes, not low pokes, but still, it'll be harder pokes. But it's the dodge and the defense that he provides to the allies that dodge and helps them survive. That's past it. There's nothing else that comes to my mind fancy to talk about him. Of course, he will have that beefy minion with 25% health and 25% attack. That again adds to his personal survivability. We move to Erlen Shang. Erlen Shang has arrived in my existing game, similar looking, not same, but similar, and in golden color. And he is being offered to practically everybody in this particular game. He has the survival talent, which is the fighter, but those stats really are bad. I've stopped using him for a long time. There used to be a time that in Equalizer War, he used to be painful because of the last portion of the special where he gives damage in case that ailment is removed. But that 500% damage and minor damage to nearby has lost its impact for almost 2 years now. So from that particular perspective, yes, he does have good specials, but he is a very old hero. Aether power plus 20% attack for 6 turns will not help much because this is extremely, extremely low. We are sitting at 1800 plus, nearing 1900. So that's a 600 gap. We're talking about at least 550 gap with all the buffs and the boosts that you could still put in. The hero has to be able to take care of 80% of his or her impact directly by themselves. That's why they become eligible to be in the team. And he has lost that unless a costume comes and levels this guy up. So that's that. So I'm going to leave it at that. Deteriorating morale. Well, my morale towards him is extremely deteriorated. So I will leave it at that. Minus 48% attack, which creates a little survivability, is also not much of an impact. That's your Erlen Shang. Brimstone. That's the fire element construct fellow. So this is a good part. This obviously is nothing great. And then you've got this 180% damage to all as part of his destructive core, depending on how much gets charged and when he fires the special, which means he combines this passive with the 200% damage to all. So it becomes a 380. It can become up to 380% damage to all. Eighth power of 20% plus. Attack for 6 turns is helpful, but those stats are low, and it's not as precarious as the previous fellow. His impact all, and he gives a fiend that gives an ailment of minus 54% defense against fire element. So that can be combined, and you can have a little bit of fun. You can combine, obviously, if you're going on offense, you'll take multiple fire element heroes to go hunting. And the last portion, which is plus 86% defense specifically against ice, was great at that particular time because it was very painful. But then Arco came, and I made the video, so I've shown it how Brimstone gets negated extremely fast with the Arco. And of course, he's an old hero, low defense, which means he can be whacked faster. Low health, again, whacked faster. But impact all, and a combo of this and his 200% damage to all is useful. We have Skarn. That's the very fast fellow. With 1600 attack, his stats are not very low. He, of course, has this benefit of additional 30% damage. So whatever he's doing, it receives this benefit and impact. Being construct hero, he has this benefit of the corrosive core and mana generation slowdown of minus 13% each turn. So that's that, and this impact is on all enemies. So that really helps. He is useful support. In terms of his direct damage, it's not high because 185 is nothing great. But then his elemental defense down against, in the favor of blues, and the 558 frost damage over 3 turns. Also, all these things combine to cause irritation. But I will leave him as a support, a good support fellow who can give a hard poke. That's it. So if you don't have Cinnamon, Skarn is the one worth considering. I'm going to leave it at that. So next one is Relius. Very, very low stats when you look at it. When Relius arrived, one of the early arriving owls. That's why being offered now, or has become eligible to be offered now. Relius's claim to fame was, of course, reduces the amount of mana increased by special skills. So, okay, that's useful. But the greatest claim to fame was average speed, 40% chance to revive with 30% HP. Now, when the revival was the first portion, and then the healing was there, which obviously later was tweaked. That because that ensured that 30% HP revive received a further 30% health recovery, which would ensure that whoever was dead and had revived, they would be fully healed. So that part has been sorted out. So recovery of health is first, then revival happens, and then all allies get Moonrise Ward for 4 turns. This is the benefit available to even the revival fellows, and the special skill damage is reduced by minus 800 and reduces damage by additional 30% when the attacker is of holy element. So a little bit of taming was done, nerf, I would call, but nothing great. Fell out of the sky. She is still useful for somebody who's searching for a functionally fast speed reviver. So when I had seen her being offered, I did give it a serious thought that this could be fun in terms of revival. The only thing that is a put off is that she may not be used much, and I have got a barrage of greens, so that roster aspect comes into play. That's 15 heroes tier. I am not getting into more This is nothing great. A 420 health generation over 6 turns. Not even worth mention in today's play. We move to the last tier of 20, which is with Acid Fire. So you can see the stats. He is a goblin, so of course the goblin family bonus is pretty cool. Then the goblin passive is equally cool, and that 40% chance to perform is BS because that practically is 100%. So keeps happening more often than you can actually think of. Of course, dated. Good point is the Aether power is 20% attack up, and you can see the stats are extremely low. Poisonous Mist at fast speeds, so the 355 damage to the target nearby enemies is not going to be something great. But what happens after that is the big irritation. Wither of minus 225 attack and defense. Now, because it's fast speed and he just keeps fighting away, he has been a nightmare on defense and offense. Offense, of course, the player controls, and defense, he is placed in that weird position of flank. Many times I have seen him even on left wing, but left flank is the best one, where he's basically negating by firing multiple times, because you can imagine if attack is reduced, he fires twice or thrice, and attack is reduced by a good 450 or 675, and defense is reduced because it's straight away shaved off. Wither shaves off. Of course, there are too many anti-Wither heroes also, so you can cleanse it up. That ensures that Acid Fire is useless. But if one doesn't have those cleanse Wither effect heroes, then Acid Fire can be nasty. And the last portion of the special, the target nearby enemies reflect status effect buffs to random character on opposing team for 3 turns. So this helps, and that's combination of these 3 specials turned him into a complete nightmare. When he was introduced, everybody wanted him. Of course, now there is a solution to all kinds of Wither, and of course, this part can also be sorted out because there is a reflect available. So you try to give this particular ailment, is going to come to Acid Fire and his gang, and they'll be reflecting on the other side. So that's that. So, well, certain players might like Acid Fire. Lazara. Now that's the holy element fellow from the Champions family, available in the Legends portal. You have got mana generation buff through the passive, you've got health boost on attempted ally cleanse, and then an enemy attempts cleanse by using special skills. All enemies receive 300 damage. That's a good passive. His stats are old, and I will say low, a little better than some of the previous ones. Home run. He does a lot of things. Safely cleanses status ailments from all allies. So that is the secondary effects don't impact you. That's when he cleanses status ailments. But before that, he has this self survivability in terms of dodge built. Then he whacks 325% damage to all. There is a 50% minus 50% decrease of any healing, and all enemies can't get their status ailments cleansed or reallocated by special skills for 4 turns. So he's doing a lot of things. And I've still found him on a lot of defenses in that 26, 27, 28, 100 zone. Also higher than that a few times, but a lot of defenses. Why am I pointing out defenses? Because I can see a hero primarily in defense. If I don't have the hero, my experience of the hero comes when I'm dealing with the hero on defense. And if the hero can be used on defense, and he's clearly an offensive hero, that means he can easily be used on offense, where I'm in charge of a lot of moves and decisions. So a hero that is useful on offense and defense becomes extremely valuable. That's why I'm pointing out the defense part. So yeah, Lazara. Moving forward, fire element hero Lodius. He has his impact, very fast speed. Owly does this, and well, both the fellows, Lazara and Lodius, don't have a great talent thing, so the talent does a bit of her stuff, but I will leave it at that. There is defense build, so plus 20% defense for 6 turns is his Aether power. Attacks the target with Moonrise, so 2200 whack snipe is useful, and that plus 40% additional against a holy target is very useful. So I do use him. This is the little bit of a drawback, but he comes in handy. The target, if the target is defeated by the attack, then nearby enemies are unable to gain mana for 3 turns. So combining multi-snipe, where he's the second sniper, that really helps. And of course, all allies counterattack with 60% of the damage received. This really helps many times. So Lodius has that benefit, but he's a snipey fellow that is doing a lot of things. And the second and third portion of the special is useful. Second requires a little bit of tact to use along by partnering with another snipey whacker, unless you already have the target, which can be for sure killed by Lodius, because 3 turns of mana gain is stopped. That is a big help in today's play. Star Walker. This hero dominated, loved, chased by all players when the hero arrived. Useful, and useful. Extremely useful. But those stats really break the heart. This special skill never misses the target, and he's a fast speed fellow. Deals 200% damage to all. This 200% damage is a poke these days. Deals 450 if there is boosted health. That is still a poke. All enemies get minus 35% defense for 3 turns. That is useful. Any defense down is useful. And the last portion of the special, which is the 28 damage straight HP damage, that is where a lot of hassle was done, because when this fellow arrived, you can see the health. So the health at that time used to be somewhere around 2500. So that's a straight. You've got the whack, you've got defense down, and if you try to cleanse that particular part, you are screwed. And if you've got a defense down ailment, you will want to cleanse it. And you would end up dying. I've had so many scenarios where Gazelle died, and no, Gazelle survived, and Gazelle was the only one that survived because everybody had that impact. Oh, that's Star Walker for you. Yeah, I might still be picked up by a few because an impact all hero will be handy and useful. I have found him on a lot of defenses in that 26, 27, 2800 cups. So I will say that he is very much around. Moving forward, the last hero being offered in the tier of 20, which is Garten. Garten's claim to fame is a gargoyle. He has this passive. Every time this gargoyle casts a special skill, their soft skin activates. The next 4 times they receive damage, it is reduced by minus 90%. They also resist all status ailments, mana reduction, insanity. This effect can't be dispelled. That's the soft skin impact. And soft skin heroes become good fellows to deal with all insanity heroes. And he being a support hero, this ensures that he stays safe. He's an average speed hero. He has the Aether power of minus 10% damage reduction. This is okay. It can cause a little irritation. What does he do? Boosts health of all allies by 700. So that's a clear straight boosted health, reduces max health of all enemies by 700. And if there is boosted health, then the impact is doubled. All allies except the caster receive soft skin. So his passive already provides him this, which means he gives soft skin to all allies. And what does the soft skin do? Same. That I spoke over there on the passive part. So that really helps. That's a great support to be able to provide. And I found him on many defenses in 3100, 3000, and various other defenses below also, whoever has it. Last portion of the special. All allies are immune to new status ailments that affect healing for 4 turns. Remove status ailments that affect healings from all allies. So healing related status ailments, he creates an immunity and he cleanses. So there's this conditional and specific cleanse that he does. I will say he is the best offering in the portal right now. When I look at the stats, a combination of the stats, the support, and everything that he provides, Garten is the best pick. And he's the last hero, so now I'm going to go into tier-wise best pick. So I would rather point this out, that if you are looking at, and every roster requires a good support hero. So look at this. Heals, reduces max health opposite. If there is boosted health, the impact is an additional 700. All allies receive soft skin. We know what the soft skin does. It's explained over here. Minus 90% damage reduction and blah, blah, blah. All allies are immune to new healing related reduction and cleansing of healing ailments. Okay, that might not be something significant, but the previous ones are. So he is a good hero to take forward. And now that most of the rosters have got costume, Gazelle with a costume, there are many heroes that don't work along with Gazelle, healers specifically. This fellow will work very well with Gazelle and will create a safety net for Gazelle. Because you may say, oh, well, soft skin cannot be there with others. Gazelle reduces damage impact. So Gazelle will take care of everybody. Somebody takes care of Gazelle. And that is something that I have started doing by using Xiao Wujing and various other heroes who give the dodge. And I use the blue fellow that I have to provide the soft skin to Gazelle. So, and health impact is there. And this fellow is a damager. Reducing 700 max health is 700 straight damage. So Garten is the best because he's superb on offense and defense both, and he boosted health, takes away health from opposite, and reduces damage. So all 3 super valuable, and his survivability is built in. Plus the family bonus provides blah, blah, blah. If you're taking 3, then you've got poison, burn, and water damage immunity too. That's it. We're done with all. So I'm going to go to the tier. Clearly in the tier of 10 heroes, the only hero that shows up worth looking at is Uwe. And he has value and benefit for all rosters. Unless you have got many dark element heroes lined up, then you may have a specific point, but otherwise he is brilliant. Other heroes, totally not worth it. You may want to look at Hallstone if you want some kind of a support hero for use on offense. Please don't use him on defense. Otherwise, whoever is attacking your defense will be very happy, and thank you. So that's, I'm going to say Uwe. I'm not going to be nice to the other heroes because no, if somebody loves any one of them specifically, you have all yours. Moving into the tier of 15, Bastet comes in because of this. The costume bonus is useful and you can actually look at, because there's a great good stats, I will say, defense and health, so their survivability, and Bastet can provide that particular support. So you can look at Bastet, you can look at Skarn, very clearly, again, a very good support hero, doing multiple things. And also support, when I'm saying support, in the sense of support enhances the other allies, plus at the same time providing damage and various other impactful supports. So that is very much there. The last one, if you're looking for a clear cut reviver, go for Relius. Relius is still on a lot of defenses, so you'll be able to use, of course, not in the top tier, but in that 26 to 2900 tier, or 2800 rather, let me say. Relius has shown up a lot of times. All the heroes that I'm saying will clearly require LB225, which I'm sure everybody knows, so I'm not going to keep stressing that each time. That's it. So I will leave this particular tier. I would have mentioned this, but very easy to negate. And that if you're taking only for minus 54% defense down, I would like to believe that you already have. But this minus 54% defense down is available to all. So that's an impact all elemental defense down against fire element. So Brimstone, if you're looking specifically for that, Brimstone is worth a look. But that is conditional, just remember that. Moving to the tier of 20, I have already said that Garten is absolutely top pick in this. And apart from that, I'm going to say Lazara for a lot of stuff that is going on, so will be useful. The rest, I'm going to let it be. This is useless. There are too many heroes that make Wither useless, and there are too many heroes that don't let that reflect ailment fall into place. That's it. So I'm not majorly impressed by Acid Fire today because there are tons of solutions, many solutions. Lodius is the dark horse that I'm going to point out because he is a sniper. If he was an impact 3 with 1400 or 1500 damage, I would not be a big fan, though that's a straight shaving off your HP. So 2200 HP removal is very useful, and against the holy it's 40% more. But the other part is equally useful, the second portion of the special, which mostly players forget, which is if the target is defeated by the attack, the neighboring enemies are unable to gain any mana for 3 turns. Remember that. And 60% counter attack is useful. So that's that. Unfortunately, Star Walker, your time is gone. And yes, somebody might want to take, please go for it. Impact all heroes have their utility on offense for sure. Defense part is what I'm going to leave it to each. Lodius comes in handy on defense too. I put him in the wing. Obviously now I have more hero options, so I don't. But there was a good amount of time when I used to just put him in the left wing, and he used to do what he used to do. So that's it. I have spoken about each one. My question is, who will I pick up? And as I've been speaking, I have become clear as to who I am picking up, because I'm looking at, even if I may not be able to do it immediately, but eventually I would want this hero to be done and ready. So we'll find out. Decision time, and it's a no-brainer. I have too many of that color to work on. This fellow will get priority because there is nobody else that I would like to collect. The one that came very close was picking up Bastet for my existing one and improving the stats. I would rather look at a hero that is going to impact the roster, and one of the impact that I constantly keep looking for is which hero can impact and support Gazelle specifically. So dodge and soft skin are the two aspects that I use for Gazelle. That's a clear strategy. So very clearly, I would have wanted to pick up Relius for revive, but I don't give a shit about revival because I don't play the game as extensively as I used to. So very clearly, it's going to be gotten, done, done, done. That's it. Welcome to the roster, buddy. Cheers. And good luck making your decision. And see you in the next video. Cheers.